always been a part of me to fight for those who couldn't fight for themselves. Whether on my block or around the world. My name is First Lieutenant King, and I move toward the sounds of those who are in need of help.
The few, the proud, the Marines.
I want to ask you a question. Who's coaching you? Who's asking you the tough questions? Who's telling you, man, you're the common denominator to all of your issues and challenges? Who's telling you, man, all day long you become the magnetic pulse that attracts to you both good and bad? I want to be your life coach. I want to be the one that cheers you on to the finish line. I want to be the one that you ask the tough questions. And it doesn't mean that I have all the answers, but that means that you have a partner, someone who believes in you, not the you see right now, but the you can't imagine, the you that you are to become, the you were destined to be. I always say we both need the positive and the negative. It's not enough to have the knowledge of the matter, but we must have the wisdom as well. For wisdom settles it. And that's what I want to offer you as you join me on the Coach's Corner. I want to offer you the wisdom of the matter. Maybe it might be relationships, talking about our campaigns for more, for life, the dark room for our subconscious, our spiritual journey, whatever it is. I want to be there to encourage you, to build you, to challenge you, to cheer you on to the finish line. I'm qualified to do this. Why? Because I'm you.
Thank you so very much for joining us for another edition of the Coach's Corner right here on SIBN Radio. We thank you so much for joining us, and we want to invite you to follow us on Twitter. As we move forward on Twitter, we trust that you are following us also on Facebook at Select USA TV on both. I want to ask you, how are you doing today? My name is Marcus Select, a.k.a. The Coach, and assuredly as I approach the microphone, I have my own set of issues, but I trust that I'm bringing to the table the wisdoms of life that I have incurred, that I have grown to covet, grown to protect, wisdoms. And maybe I might earn the right to speak into your life. Just might. I don't know. And are you telling a friend about us, or are you just every day showing up listening and taking from us but not giving back? This is a community radio station, and this is a community radio program. Today we want to talk about, have our eyes adjusted more to darkness? And let me not say any other words without thanking you for listening all over the world. The various platforms that SIBN television and radio broadcasts. We appreciate your listenership and patronage. And by all means, we thank you in advance. Don't forget to visit www. We support Select USA TV, now open to the public. Join free today. All right, let's get right to work. Have our eyes adjusted more to darkness? Coach, what do you mean when you ask that question? I am simply asking you, and for those of you that may be physicians out there, you may have some inclinations of how the eyes work. I do not. But the thought that I have in my heart is, when I stepped outside once, it was completely, perceptionally and realistically darker than I could imagine. I looked over at a particular property and noticed that there was no porch lights on. And then I said, it's dark out here. So I proceeded to the rear of the house, my house, and there was no porch light on my back deck. And I thought to myself, it's dark out here. Well, they had been rehabbing a few of the homes in the neighborhood from the sloping the economy and bringing everything up to par. And I was just wondering, and I always try to keep a lookout on those homes. But then as I got ready, I was outside for a second, and then I got ready to go back in, and I could see better than I did when I first stepped out there. Have you ever noticed that when the first time we did something wrong, it was hard, our conscience was talking to us, and we had a difficult time with the guilt and the shame? But then it became easier the second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th time around. And so the question is, have our eyes adjusted more to darkness? And I think in a survival mode, or part of our DNA, is for the eyes to adjust. Because if they didn't, we would be in shock. Every day in Atlanta, someone dies of something. Every single day in Atlanta, someone will die tonight. Hence the question, have our eyes adjusted to more darkness? And I would add, rather than more light. Just because I have the ability, or part of the DNA within the human structure is to adjust, to survive, to have a period of adjustment, does not necessarily mean I do not want the light on. You get where I'm going? Some people want the light off. They don't want you to know nothing about who they are. They don't want you to know nothing about who they work with. They don't want you to know nothing about who they're dating. They want to keep everything nonchalant, lighthearted, don't want to be too serious, running around all the time with tennis shoes on like they always going to be running from something. I'm just kidding, but it's interesting how that more young adults wear tennis shoes now than dress shoes. I need some help right there. Have our eyes adjusted more to darkness because we're leaving the light off? Because we don't care whether the light is on or not? I'm just asking. One of the ways that we might want to measure this question is through the feel or sense RAM. In the transition from boyhood to manhood, girlhood to womanhood, we have a test that we must go through. And the same test is also true in any exchange of covenant vows, whether it be parent-child, whether it be husband-wife, whether it be boyfriend and girlfriend. The same test of senses, the sense RAM, exists. That test is during the rites of passage, if you will, or during the transition, boyhood to manhood, girlhood to womanhood, singlehood to married life, single life to dating life. During that transition, am I going to walk centrally by what I feel? Now, we all have struggles with our feelings, and we all have struggled with our faith, and we all have struggles with, deciphering whether or not the sense RAM should be the leader in me. I submit to you, when we ask the question, have our eyes adjusted more to darkness? I would say yes, because we are more prone to accept the sense RAM over the spiritual RAM. The spiritual RAM encompasses all of those things that we can't see: faith, joy, peace, love, unconditional love, and on and on and on. Long suffering, putting up with folks when you didn't really have to, but because you're walking in unconditional love, you can take more than you dish, than you dish out. Have our eyes adjusted more to darkness because of our proneness to sense-based living? Yes. Because when we live by our senses, we have less light. Because the sense RAM is limited. The sense RAM is limited. It goes and drops off. It lives and then dies, only to try to live again and then die again. Our feelings cannot be trusted. Our senses cannot be trusted. We can smell rain, and yet rain could be falling 150, 25 miles away. But just because you smell rain don't mean it's going to rain on you. I need some help. We expect more bad than good in life. There's another way to look at have our eyes adjusted more to darkness. We expect more bad. We expect somebody's going to die in Atlanta. Somebody's going to die in Cincinnati tonight. Somebody's going to die in Cleveland tonight. Somebody's going to die in Houston tonight. All the major cities, all the cities seem to have a death every night. What's going on with that? I mean, every single night. Why? Because our eyes have adjusted more to darkness, and those criminals, those entities of criminality that are running the streets, those hood rats who can't see beyond their today, feel that they must, it is incumbent upon them to just take from others and to rob others. And in the process, momentum is impeded with the law and also with resistance from victims who just don't want to take it anymore, for that matter. Have our eyes adjusted more to darkness? Yes. How? Through the realm of sense-based living or sensual-based living. Whatever I feel is right has to be right. You will never experience the proper transition from manhood to from boyhood to manhood, girlhood to womanhood, from singlehood to dating, from singlehood to married life. You will never experience the authenticity of those relationships and those transitions with a sense-based, sensual-based principle of life. It is essential that the invisible characteristics of who you are becoming take the lead. And then we have this other thing where we take the lead in our faith, but we double back. I'm guilty of all these charges that we level on the coach's corner. I'm just as guilty as anybody. So I always start the show talking about I got problems, I got issues, but I got some wisdoms. Some things are up for discussion. Some things I've discovered. Some things are, our resolve and our solution, but other things are just questions, thoughts, meditations. We have this thing where we're walking by faith, and in the faith journey, we take a pit stop. I don't feel it today is the name of that pit stop. And then sometimes we take too many steps backwards because we have too many pit stops, and then we wonder why the faith journey is discouraged. Our eyes have adjusted to more darkness because of our sensitivity to sensual field living. You will never make it through a transition walking by your senses, is the point. You will never make it through your transition walking by your feelings, is the point. You will never make it through a transition walking strictly by, if you're a young adult in particular, like under 25 years old, you will never make it through life walking strictly by your logic. Everything does not make sense. Everything cannot be lived out by the senses. There has to be some faith somewhere. Turn the freaking light on, or if the light is on, leave the light on. Now, if you want to put on sunglasses while you're in the light, I suppose. If you want to be able to say, hey, I'm going to go sit in a dark corner while the light is on, where there's so much light directly shining upon my life. I don't want everybody, I've been places where I've taken pictures and people say, hey, don't take my picture. I might be wanted by somebody. I don't want nobody to see me, Yeah. Have our eyes adjusted more to darkness? I'd say yes. I would say we are adjusted to not seeing clearly. We've been fooled and bewitched and bamboozled into a corner of darkness, and we've adjusted to it. It's just not good. It's just not good. And then when the light comes on, we are absolutely in shock and awe that the light is on. And we ask the question, who turned the light on? Well, everybody doesn't want to walk in darkness. And if you have bouts of darkness, because we all do, let me make that clear, DJ. I'm ready for you. If we have bouts of darkness, we still yet yearn for the light. We yearn for the light. Yearn for it. In other words, the lights may be down low right now, but come morning time in my life, come morning time in my season, come morning time in my transition, turn them lights on. I don't want to be sitting in the dark trying to figure things out, trying to wonder where my feet are stepping, when my hands are touching. I want some assurity in life. I want some security. I want some foundation. I don't want to keep messing up so I can have to keep doubling back. I don't want to have to keep repeating the same patterns because I just don't feel it. You are never going to feel what you should or think you should feel when it comes to transitioning to the next growth cycle. You won't feel it at all. Feelings must follow my faith. My faith must take and lead the way. Feelings must take a back seat. Ride as a passenger, but shut your mouth, buckle up for the ride. That's what we got to tell our feelings. Yes, have our eyes adjusted more to darkness. There's a portion of our life where our eyes should be adjusting, but the adjustment is for the measure of getting to the light, not for setting up camp and building a whole lifestyle around that place of minimal, what was to be a minimal adjustment. Our eyes have adjusted more to darkness because we want to do what we want to do. We don't want to live by principle in America anymore. American culture doesn't want to live by principle. That's why we can't pass what some may be calling sensible gun laws. We don't want any regulation. Yet with this latest scandal with the National Security Administration, now we want regulation. How could they go so far as to monitor our phone calls and our emails? This should not be. Listen, we can't have it both ways. Either you don't want regulation, regarding the gun debate, you don't want regulation regarding guns because everybody's afraid they're going to lose their guns. Oh my God. But then we don't want regulation. Then we do want regulation on everybody eavesdropping on your phone calls and your emails. Get over it. We can't have it both ways. The NSA has never been regulated. Every time that something is exposed, the powers become greater. Every decade, every century, I'm not going to say century, but every decade, the NSA's power is more and more engrossed, entrenched. No one can stop the NSA. I don't care how many hearings they have. I don't care how many voices speak up. I don't care how many news cameras, how many questions is asked. The NSA will never stop spying on us. So, okay, that's where your eyes have adjusted. That's the perfect example right there. We don't like the fact that folks are spying on us, but the majority of us are still emailing and making calls anyway. And that's my point. We don't like the fact that it's dark. We don't like the fact that, but we still move on and do what we're supposed to do in the light, even though we don't feel all of what we want to feel, even though we don't necessarily agree with all that we've got to do. But we move on. We transition. That's what makes us grown folk. Take a small break. Be right back. have our eyes adjusted more to darkness? It's easier to grope around where you can't see than to intentionally prioritize and walk where you can't see. I went to a club for the first time. I think I was in my 40s when I went to a club just to dance. And I know y'all probably saying like, what? Yeah, I had my own business. We used to clean clubs when I was younger, but I never thought to go to one because I was busy developing a business. But anyway, I went to a club and I had this thought. Everybody looks fine in the club. There's an equilibrium in the club called darkness. Shadows of light. What seems to glitter like gold becomes a shimmering fabric of our imagination by daytime. And in the club, your eyes learn to adjust to the darkness. And in that adjustment, we need a few elements to make us feel more comfortable. And then we do deeds. We do deeds in the darkness that feel different when we're doing it in the light, because in the light there's an exposure of guilt and shame and possible responsibility and accountability issues. But when we do it in darkness, no one seems to mind. Not trying to be funny, but a therapist once said to a couple that was in trouble, they said, do you have times of intimacy in the light? And they said, absolutely not. And the therapist looked at them and said, why not? And you would be surprised the answer that came forward. One answer was, I am ashamed of how I look. The other answer was, I have never turned the light on. It's always been off. Perhaps if you did transition with the light on, you would see that you need to adjust yourself before you wreck yourself. Because I know that I've had to do that. Perhaps if you turn the light on when you get ready to do the next deed, you'll think twice before proceeding to the end of that. Step back from it and say, you know what? Never mind. I'll go back to faith living. Take a small break. Be right back. See, some people are hooked on sensual expression. Everything they do is about how I feel, and everything they do is about feeling good. But you're not going to always feel good every time you move through the portals of life. Something's going to feel bad. But that means it might be good for you. I saw my son with no shirt on. At the time of this recording and broadcasting, 14-year-old son, which I bought him a riding mower so that he could be able to earn some more money for himself. So I came home one day and saw him out there with no shirt on, slender little body, and he was just working it. And I said, you okay? He said, I'm okay. But the look that was on his face was not an okay look. So you had some water? He said, yeah, I had some water. the answer from his mouth was not an okay answer. Then he said these words to me. I got to go over here and finish this yard. And I looked at him. I said, that boy right there, he making daddy proud. You know why? Because he don't look like it feels good and he don't sound like it feels good, but he is out there 14 years old, just turned 14, handling his business, sweating like a man, earning his keep. So what is my point? It doesn't feel and look comfortable when you're sticking to the task. It doesn't feel and look comfortable when you're trying to figure it out. Stop trying to figure everything out. You won't be able to do it. Rest your weary mind. You ever heard that saying? Your arms is too short to box with God. Essentially, you need to take your burdens to the Lord and leave them there. Because what we do is we say, okay, this is more than I expected. I don't like this. I don't want to adjust. So I am going to walk back into the darkness and I'm going to stay there. And I know there I will feel better. Got to get ready to go. I know there I will feel secure. And you lying to yourself because you're not going to be secure. Your feeling of security is not even authentic. It's not even reality. Because then you're complaining all over again. Oh my God, why did I even do this? Give yourself a break and turn the light on in your life and leave it on. Seriously, give yourself a break. You don't have to keep putting yourself through the same transition because it's going to keep rolling back around until you get it. I got to go. I got to go. Until you get it, it's going to keep rolling back around. And all your refusal to turn the light on is not going to help you. You got to leave the light on. There's a limited amount of darkness that we are going to experience anyway. They're going to have some cool down times, some times where you don't have to have so much on the line, so much response and reality and responsibility and accountability, but that's minimized as you grow up, as you mature. You realize and understand, I got to learn how to like life that I don't like. I got to go. Everything we do here on the Culture's Corner to get you to the finish line. I trust that you can get there. Until next time, make sure you follow me on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube channel, Select USA TV. We appreciate you. Thank you so much for all that you bring to the table, all that you are. And remember, if it is to be, then it's up to me. And nobody can take the pain of my journey from me. I must endure myself that I may win the prize of my expectation and tap into the gifts of my imagination. It's the Coach.